Hello, friends, and welcome back to Strangers in the Night, your source for late night or early evening or late afternoon VR gaming talk. I, of course, am your host, Wes. With me, as always, is my good friend, Roots. Roots, welcome back.
Yeah,
It's
welcome back. I was
2025.
just telling you it's been a nice long break. And I just want to tell you from the future, it's fucking cold, Wes. You're about to get really cold soon because we're, for some reason, you guys are going to be getting it about the time the last day of tomorrow is when it'll be our coldest, and then it's going to start warming up here. But I guess the southeast is going to start getting freezing, right?
Well, we've already had historic lows in January this year. It's been crazy already, not that it's warm right now. It's 27 degrees as
Mm.
I speak. Um, but the last couple of days prior to this, it's been up in like the high 40s, which has been quite comfortable. But it was weird, man, because like literally, I guess it was mid to late December, we had like a pretty bad snowstorm.
Hmm.
And that snow and ice was literally here until it melted off yesterday.
Oh, wow.
And then I woke up today to more snow. So like now there's like 3 or 4 more inches of snow out there and a cold blast coming. So
That's
yeah,
crazy. It
it's not
snows in
it's not over
Kentucky all
yet.
the time. No, just kidding.
Not
Oh,
really, dude.
not
This year's been
really.
nuts though.
You know what's crazy about here is it's like negative. I mean, it's like 12, but it's, with the wind, it's like negative something 2 or 3. But because we're
Yeah,
so
so
high up towards the sun, that there's like the snow that's on the ground or that was on our porch from yesterday is melting slowly. But I'm like, dude, that's pretty crazy when the snow's melting and it's negative degrees outside. So
yeah, that doesn't make sense. It's just been a weird year already. I mean, it's been so cold here. Again, historic lows. It's been so cold here, Roots, that it broke my computer.
oh my god,
Like
that's not good.
literally, it was so cold that it broke my computer. Let me explain. And you may hear it, like from time to time during the today's episode. You might hear it get loud. I might before the end of this episode, at least once. You might lose me, and you'll
No.
just have to wait a couple of minutes for me to join. But we had a snowstorm I mentioned a few weeks ago in December, and we knew it was coming. We prepared for it. We got the kerosene heater in here and charged all the battery backups, and we were prepared for all of that. But when the power finally did go out, completely expected, we had a power surge where the power went in and out
Mm.
like 6, 7, 8 times. And I didn't think much of it. I've got an expensive surge protector on my computer in here, so I just assumed everything was fine. Power was out for a couple of days. Um, when it came back on, everything seemed fine, um, except every now and then my computer, for no reason, will just power off and reboot. And it isn't like restarting, like Windows tells you, hold on a second, we're restarting.
Mm.
It just powers off like abruptly. And after it did that a couple of times, I got kind of concerned, and I noticed that it was having another symptom that it wasn't having before, um, and that is it gets loud every now and then for no reason. It gets loud for a few seconds and cuts off. It's doing it right now, as a matter of fact.
What's getting
Um,
loud? Is it the video card or is it the power supply? Because I know you
it
were
is the
saying.
power supply. It took me a
Mm.
while to figure that out, but because I heard the fans kicking in, and I went up and looked at all my system fans, and I couldn't notice any of them ramping up when it got loud. So I thought for a minute I was concerned. I thought that it may have been my pump. I've got a big Corsair all-in-one liquid cooler. I thought, well,
Mm.
maybe I'm hearing the pump kick in. Maybe that's what it is. But I found out that it was my power supply fan, which never used to kick on at all. Like it would stay off all the time, and now it kicks in and out all day long, on off,
Uh,
on off. And I come to find out, um, it actually coincides 1-to-1 every time that it's kicking on. It's kicking on when my graphics card frequency boosts. So
Oh.
like I'll sit and I can open up my EVGA precision thing that monitors the graphics card, and the graphics card fans aren't kicking on. It's not that, but you can sit and watch it at idle. It's like 300 megahertz or something really low like that. But I can click on and open like a web browser or something, and when I do that, the frequency of the video card will shoot all the way up to like 1800 megahertz or something like that. And every time it does that, uh, the the fan on the power supply kicks on for some reason. So I'm assuming that either my power supply got damaged in that power surge, and it's overheating quickly when any type of real draw gets put onto it, or there's something wrong with my graphics card, and
Mhm.
when it boosts, it's pulling more voltage than it's supposed to, and that's
But
causing it.
you wouldn't think that that would be too much for the power supply. It's not like you're unless you're running like a really low power supply
I'm
that was
close.
just
I'm
at the
close. Yeah, I'm right on the line with it. Like I think I'm 800 watts for my
okay.
3080 Ti. So like it's right on the line. That's not to mention the fact that I've got like a Intel CPU, which notoriously those are pretty power hungry, and then I'm running a bunch of DDR5 RAM in it,
Mm.
and I have this big 360 millimeter uh, cooling deal with like fucking six. I think I have 7 system fans running in there right now, and tons of RGB. Like I've got a bunch of stuff. Um,
Should be
so
enough
yeah.
though for a 3080 Ti. Before we get too far away from it, Classy Grandma says, "Oh my God, hello Roots and West. Whoop whoop. I'm ready for you to fill my brain with some fun, please, with a $20 super chat."
Oh
And then
wow.
also followed it up with saying she was watching someone play Arken Age. She wishes it was on Quest. And yeah, it is.
Well, here's the thing, and I mean this. Um, I'm not trying to be like snarky or joke about it, but let's just be honest. If Arken Age was on Quest, then it wouldn't be Arken Age, right?
Right.
It would be Quest Arken Age.
Arken
It
Age
would be
Light.
something else, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I
Now,
can't.
again, maybe that's not such a bad thing. I mean, we've recently met with the patrons to select the winners of the 2024 show awards. And one of the conversations that we had then, and one of the conversations that we will be having next week on the 2024 show, is how, that's the meaning of that's changing, right? The meaning of what it is to be on Quest, since the Quest 2 got dropped as the kind of the bottom standard, and Quest 3 exclusives are now being allowed. We're already seeing a pretty seismic shift in the quality of standalone VR that we're getting. So who knows? A year from now, 2 years from now, maybe Arken Age on Quest isn't such a funny thing to think about.
Makes you wonder if it'd be Quest 4 or not. I mean, I'm the wrong person to, you know, because I don't know what the difference is between, what's on a Quest 3 versus like what my 4090 can push, because I just crank everything up and it just runs really well. And so, I would imagine you have a better idea with the PlayStation VR 2, which I didn't play Arken Age. Not that we're going to jump into this conversation already, but I mean, the PlayStation 5 is way more power than the Quest 3, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it still is. Right, right. I don't know exactly what the equivalency of a Quest 3 fully optimized is, but yes, the PlayStation 5 still is in front of it by a fair bit.
Looper says, well, they somehow made Hubris run on Quest 2. Yeah, I mean, and I don't know. Not to
It's not the same.
to be rude to Hubris, but it is no Arken Age. That's for damn sure. So
That's true as well. That's true as well. Arca Hubris is no Arken Age, and Hubris on Quest is no Hubris. Compared, not that it's bad, but it's it's Hubris on Quest, right?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Well, that sucks for you about your computer, but the good news is it's just one more reason Wes needs, like, he doesn't want, he needs the upgrade. And so we're just gonna have to make it
Well,
happen.
well, let's talk about that because while we were away, and by the way, I think what I was trying to say when we came in, and I got sidetracked immediately as we often do. I'm glad to be back, man. Like we've had a long break, and the last time we did one of these shows, I was still kind of dealing okay with the break. Like I needed a little bit more. um, I can say genuinely, as I often do when we come back in January, I'm 100% ready to get back to doing shows here and seeing you in the community every week and talking about VR. It's been close to 3 months now since we did this on any type of a regular schedule, and I am so happy to be back here and doing episodes again. So, welcome back, sir. I missed you. I missed all of you as well, and I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, I missed you as well, and I'm and everybody. And I was just wondering if something's going on with my oh yeah, so remember how I was telling you my computer is, or not computer, but the power is having weird issues every once in a while. Well, that's maybe I'll start to
Yep.
I'm gonna have a light show here, Wes. My lights are just going crazy, I guess, between those two lights, this one and then everything else. I don't know. It makes me glad I have the UPS because it just popped off. My power just went off for maybe about a
Wow.
second or two and then came back on, and that would have been computer shutdown if I didn't have it. So yeah, disco lights going off. I hope it doesn't happen too much, or I might kill one of these lights. So
All right. So, SpryGuy asked, "How's the wife feeling?" And I guess we'll talk about that before we get into like all the graphics cards and stuff. So originally the plan was to have the 2024 show today, this weekend. Um, and we were preparing for that. We did meet at the end of December, early January, with the patrons and select the winners to all the awards. Um, Coming out of that, there was CES, which I wasn't going to go to. Um, I was going to stay home from that, but as it got closer and closer, and I heard people on the Impact team talking about the industry after party and some of the stuff that was going to be happening. I started thinking, well, man, I probably should have went. So I talked to wife about it just to see if we could get tickets last minute to go at an affordable price, and it turned out, um, yeah. I mean, I couldn't go for the whole CES week like everyone else, but flying out late and coming home a little bit later than everyone, it was actually quite affordable. It was cheap, so we decided to go to Las Vegas for a few days. So the
oh,
wife and
okay.
I, we flew out there on Thursday last week and just stayed through the weekend. A lot of people were on their way back out when we just got there, but I was able to attend the industry party and hang out for a day with the crew, with
It was so worth
Alex
it.
and Skiva, and yeah, it was awesome. Um, and then after everyone left like wife and I in Vegas ourselves on Saturday, which was going to be fun, except for the fact that we got sick that Saturday.
Mm,
We started off with a sore throat, which quickly became headache and body aches and fevers. And then by the time we got home on Sunday, we had to fly home with all of this.
mm.
We literally stopped by the emergency room on the way home from the airport, and by that point, the sore throat became a chest infection, and there was vomiting, and it was a bad time. So
Wow.
we've had a pretty rough week this week actually. Um, she had it worse than I did. Like, I felt pretty rough for 2 or 3 days, but she's literally been off her feet for the whole time we've been home until like just yesterday.
That
So,
sucks.
um,
That's why we
we're
did
off. We're off.
that. That's why we postponed the show or the voting is because I had that the week before, and
Yeah.
it was crap, man. It sucked. I mean, it was a vomiting, but you know the beauty of that story is, Wes, and you guys will never know. But you guys got to share that with so many people on that plane. They got home and they're like, I don't know why I'm starting to feel like shit. Because you were right smack in the middle of at your most contagious, right? So
So here's the thing, man. When I got back, and I didn't miss any work. I'd already kind of taken it easy for a few days where I was traveling the prior week. I couldn't take another few days where I'm kind of zoned out at work. So when Monday rolled around, it was time to go to work, which I did. But when we got back and did our front of the week meetings on Monday, Eric was sick, Todd was sick, Alex was sick. Like everyone that had been there brought it back with them. We were all sick. Um, so yeah, we were all kind of feeling it. And needless to say, there's still some like last minute stuff that we need to take care of for 2024 show. And we weren't really feeling up to doing it last week. And it wouldn't have mattered anyway because Eric is traveling this weekend. He's in Europe this week doing something, um, Pocket Gamer UK or something like that. And he's out of town all week this week, coming back next Saturday. And for regular episodes or what have you, I have no problem just, doing a show without Eric. But the 2024 show, he already had to miss the voting for, and
right.
I can tell he was really upset that he couldn't be there for the voting. I wouldn't feel right doing the 2024 show without Eric.
Yeah,
So,
I agree. What's another week anyway, right?
right,
Classy
right.
Grandma says for some chicken noodle soup, another $5. I feel really bad for you guys. Yeah, feeling.
We're fine.
The only good thing about being sick when I was sick is I was around somebody on Friday that was not feeling well and coughing, and she's like, "Oh, I don't want to get you sick." I'm like, "No, I already had it last week, dude. I'm not worried about it because I already had it." It's kind of nice.
So yeah, Eric should be back this weekend, and barring any more setbacks, we should be having the 2024 show 1 week from today, on this very network. And you mentioned, giving the illness to all the people on the plane on the way home. I hope not, because I actually met another VR content creator on the plane, on the way home.
Oh, cool.
Somebody actually sitting directly across the aisle from me in the same seats, but on the other side. This guy and his wife sitting across from me and my wife, and I had this Ghost of Tabor hat on, and he's like, "Excuse me, is that a Ghost of Tabor hat?" Yeah, obviously, it's the Ghost of Tabor hat, dude. And did you go to CES? And we struck up a conversation, and yeah, this guy, he lives like a half an hour from here, and he does content, VR
Oh,
content on his own channel. He's a smaller creator, just kind of getting started with it, but um, he's affiliated. He has a few affiliations, Ghost of Tabor being one of them.
ah,
So shout out to, what was his name? True. His name was something True. Farmer True was the name of his channel.
okay.
Farmer
Well, everybody
True,
check out
something like
Farmer True for
yeah.
some good VR content. Xbox Game Studio says being sick is a mindset. Yeah, I'm one of those people that believes that as well. But um, my mindset is I normally don't get sick, and when I do, usually it's a day or so. I feel a little bit off. No, this thing hit me like a train.
Yep.
I started New Year's Day, which I don't drink, so I didn't. There's no reason for me to feel like shit. I didn't get out of bed for like 3 days. I just wanted to lay there. That's my body was achy. I just felt like complete crap. So, then it
Yeah, I'm
took another
same way.
half a week to get rid of everything else.
I very rarely ever get sick. Maybe once every year or two I get sick. Like, it doesn't happen very often, but this was such an amalgamation of symptoms. Like, I could tell I had something, and you know what? when I took wife to the ER on the way back from the hospital, or the airport rather. Um, she tested negative for like everything. There was no COVID, no flu,
Mm.
no strap, none of that.
That's the
Now it's
new
possible that
version.
it was too fresh to
Mm.
test positive for it. But we had something. I could tell that we had something. There was too many different divergent symptoms for it to just be a cold or some little crap like that. We
Yeah,
had some kind of
considering
flu.
everybody around you also got sick within days as well, it tells me
Right.
it was probably at that party you guys went to. It's the only bad thing. That's why I was thinking, man, if you had just missed the uh the whole thing, but it's probably worth it. And it seems like this thing's going around, so you're going to get it at some point anyway. So now it's out of the way.
Yep. Yeah, and we've got other events coming up. GDC is in March. That's going to be a big one. Um, and then in May, the PAX East is coming up, the Game Cat meetup. So um, it'll be nice to go into that with those two with some well earned immunity.
Yes.
So
Yeah. Well, thank God you're not having to do what Eric's doing. I think it would be super cool and exciting to travel to Europe, except for it sucks. I'm not getting on a plane for 12 hours or whatever it takes to get over. So I'm it's not, nothing is worth that to me unless, like, for whatever reason God told me, look, I want you to fly to Europe, I'd leave tomorrow. Other than that, I just being on a plane for that long, I think going on a plane for 2 hours sucks in this, you know what I mean? I can't imagine being on a plane for, you know, half a day or whatever.
oh, yeah, well, especially after being sick and then
Correct.
having to turn right around and go do it again, man. That
Yeah, it sucks.
sucks. Anyway, let's talk a little bit about what happened while we were away. While we were in Las Vegas for CES, or while Eric was there, it was before I actually went. But NVIDIA held the keynote of at CES this year, and as expected, they revealed their 5000 series, 50 series graphics cards that we've been talking about on this channel for at least 6 months, if not longer. A lot of people in our community have been waiting for these to come out, myself included. And I've always kind of maintained that I'm going to upgrade this generation. I'm currently on a 30 series card and skipped out on 40 series so that I could get a 50 series card. I always plan on getting a 5080, but I, during, I guess, as the last few months have rolled by, a few people in our community, chief among them Looper, said, you should try to get a 5090. You should save your money and run a fundraiser. And I was hesitant to do that at first. I never really come on here hat in hand and ask you guys to for money to do anything other than just donate in general to support the channel. Um, but as time has gone on, and I've heard this time and time again, you should do a fundraiser. You should do a fundraiser. I think I will, and it's for a few different reasons. Honestly, it isn't just because I want a bigger toy or whatever. But the nature of our content has been changing over the course of the last year, and we talked about this roots a little bit last time that we were on the air. Is with the Unreal Injector mod being out now, and you know our natural interest being more inclined toward high-end games, not just modding, but in general, the better, more difficult to run games. The only really kind of restraint that I had from covering any of this stuff last year was my equipment. Like, I wanted to cover Hellblade, I couldn't cover Hellblade. I wanted to cover Silent Hill 2, I couldn't cover these games because I couldn't run them. And even if I could barely get them to run, there's no way I could stream them. So, considering that, um, that we want to kind of go lean even more into the high end. And now, with the problems I'm having with my computer, I have decided that I am going to try to raise some funds. And anybody that's interested in helping me upgrade from my expected 5080 to a 5090, I've put some links in the description. I've started a buy me a coffee account. This is what people have told me is the best route to go, the one that takes the smallest cut of the donations. And what I've decided to do here, Roots, and I'm sure I'll end up doing other things as well, but um, just in general for this event, this fundraising event for this graphics card, what I've decided to do is the top 5 donors, whatever that may turn out to be, I'm going to let these people choose what the first 5 games that I play on it will be. And it'll be streamed. Like you can pick the game. If you're the top donor or one of the top 5 donors, you tell me what you want me to play. I'll play it and I'll stream it for you. And that can be a private stream for just you and your friends, or we can stream it out on the channel for everyone to watch. Um, but I thought at the very least, and like I said, I'll probably do some other stuff as well. But at the very least, Roots, the top 5 donors that donate to my graphics card fund, uh, they're going to get to dictate to me what the first 5 games that I play, and they don't even have to be VR games. I hope it is, but it doesn't have to be.
Yeah, I think it's awesome, and I agree 100% with Looper. We need to get you that 5090. You're one of the most hardest working people in the industry, and you deserve to have the best card that's out there. Not only for the modded games, but also just the games like average games. Like you're always sending me these links on how to optimize these games, and I always look at them and I never do anything. And like even with Arken Age, I just cranked everything up and it ran perfectly smooth. So that card you're getting, the 5090, so you're getting, it's like 35% more power than what I have, and the DDR7 memory is faster and has
Right.
more bandwidth, or I think it's bandwidth, right? So it's absolutely going to be amazing. Now I would throw out there that if anybody has a 4080 or a 4080 Super, especially a 4080 Super,
Yeah.
you don't want to upgrade to a 5080. That it's very negligible. That's one of the biggest things. Like the 5090 is going to be amazing. Even if I went to a 5090, big upgrade. Well,
Right.
not as big as an upgrade as the last time I went up, but it would be a big upgrade. But if you're going from a 4000 series, like 4070 Ti Super, Wes, is more powerful than the 5070 Ti.
Yeah, I know.
And so like the biggest thing about this generation is the AI frame generations. And somebody said it in the chat, it does shit for VR. It ain't gonna help VR at all. You need the raw CUDA cores and the power and stuff. So if somebody's coming from like a 3000 series to like a 5080 or whatever, absolutely. But if you already have a 4000 series, you really should look at what you're getting, because
Yeah.
it may not be as big of an upgrade as you think. And I don't think for what we do, the frame generations, it's really not going to be a big deal. Now, I did see, I think it was Michelle B, I think, or somebody said something about it helped them with the DLSS helped them with virtual desktop. And so like there is applications and where it could,
Yeah.
but I think it's,
There's no, there's definitely potential applications for it. It's just not going to be a big deal for us the way it is for flat gamers. And one thing I would point to is the fact that just less than a month ago, Luke Ross found a way to tap into that information that the NVIDIA graphics card uses for DLSS to enable new features for the Real VR mod. So who's to say that 6 months from now he's not tapping into these new AI features to make the Real VR mod even that much more strong?
that is
But
true.
no, you're right. Anybody that has a super, it doesn't matter if it's the 70 super or the 80 super, any of the supers from the 4000 series, you do not want to upgrade 1-to-1, because basically 4080 Super and 5080 is essentially the same thing.
It's just such a
And
small change. It's
yeah,
crazy.
and like you said, like the 5070 Super or the 4070 Super is actually stronger than the 5070 is. Like, so it's literally taking a sideways step. Now, with that said, like obviously, if you're coming from a 30 series and you want to upgrade, take the 50 over the 40
Correct.
Super, because
Same price.
they, yeah,
Usually.
same price or less. Like especially like the 70 series cards, 70 and 70 Ti, those took a price cut this gen, as did the 80. The 80 was $1,200 last gen. It's $1,000 this gen. So
What's weird is the Super was the same price. Now, one of the biggest lies that I did see Nvidia say, and I saw people actually talking about this in the Discord. I just kept my mouth shut because I know that people would be like, oh, he's biased because he's got a 4090, but they were saying the 5070 was as good as the 4090. And then if you look at the CUDA cores, it's like there's no way power wise, and it's half the gigabytes of VRAM. It's not even close. But what they were insinuating is that the frames with the generated extra 3 frames can be higher. Who cares about fake frames? You know what I mean? Like, you have a game that's 60 frames per second and you kick it up to 240, it's going to look smoother, but it's still going to feel like 60 frames per second as far as the way the game, everything moves around. So it's a very weird thing like that. That was one of my biggest things that I took away is like, there's so many features that are amazing, but then there's so many things that I feel like NVIDIA was kind of blowing some smoke as far as that type of stuff. Because there's no way that a 5070 is going to equal a 4090
oh no,
in performance wise. But that was the talking point in the slideshow, and I saw people literally saying, believing it, and but yeah,
that's clear. That's clearly bullshit. Yeah, no, that's obvious bullshit. Now, what I will say is this: I do expect the frame gen to be way better this generation than it was last generation. Like, I know a lot of people, it's the kind of it's kind of the consensus right now. Everyone wants to shit on the fake frames, so to speak. And while I don't think it's going to come anywhere near making a 5070 run like a 4090, I think that people who are gaming, flat gamers who are gaming on that low to mid range card this gen, I think that that's going to be a usable mode for them now.
absolutely.
It's not the artifacts are at least at this point they appear like the artifacts are going to be way less noticeable, and the latency that comes from using those modes is way more negligible than you would have thought. Like, it's barely adding any latency in there whatsoever, which is kind of the magic that the AI is bringing with it this generation.
And in some cases, or most cases, it's actually less latency, which is crazy. And I guess there's a technology that the AI is doing as well that predicts where your mouse or your controller is going to be to make it feel even smoother than, like, there's new stuff in there. And if you look at the stats on there, for all the cards, the amount of, I guess, cores for AI, in most cases tripled. So I agree. I think the AI, like what NVIDIA did, I believe, and AMD Andy's probably would be screaming and say it's wrong. They put a huge distance between themselves and everybody else competition wise, because there's things that this AI is going to be doing that no other cards are doing. Where that, I don't know, just like anything else, you get what you pay for. But I'm just glad that the prices, for the most part, seem to have been reasonable. But what we don't think about is what is the availability going to be. And just like last time, the MSRP was not what most people paid for their cards when they dropped. Unless you got them on day one, you are ending up paying like 400 or 500 more than what was MSRP. So
Yeah, no, I fully expect these to be very difficult to get for probably 2 or 3 months. It's going to be a situation just like it was when I got my 3080, where I had to really be vigilant to end up eventually getting my hands on one. I didn't get one on launch shortly thereafter. But hopefully, if I can raise enough money to order this thing, I'll be able to, jump in the pool in a couple of weeks when these things go live in 11 days from now. And, I've already got a good chunk of money saved up for this. And my goal is to not have to sell my PC that I'm on right now. Even with its problems, I'm hoping that I can just get a new power supply for it, and that'll fix it. And if that's the case, and I can manage to get this graphics card, get up enough funding to order this 5090, I'll keep this 3080 as a streaming computer. So whatever it is we end up streaming, whatever flat game that we end up modding or high end VR game or whatever, um, I should be able to keep the extra overhead from not having to stream on the same machine as I'm playing on.
it shouldn't matter.
Fingers
But I mean, you
crossed.
can do that. But like I'm running a 4090, and I when I'm streaming stuff, it doesn't impact it at all because the streaming is so streamlined, and it uses such a small amount of that juice, and you're going to have 35% more than what I have. So at least that
I'm
was one of the
talking.
biggest things most content creators, the ones that do all the videos, were saying that, the 4090 series pretty much almost made us needing a second streaming computer obsolete, because there are issues that comes with that, and some jank and workarounds, and so you may at least entertain the thought that, you may not need it, so.
So Grandpa Barbecue says he doesn't see the link. It should be like literally one of the first things you see in the description. But give me a second here, and I'll drop it and put it in the chat. I hope you're right about that, Roots, and I'm sure that you are for the vast majority of cases. But what I'm talking about here are those instances like Hellblade 2, where people were barely getting it to run at 45 frames per second on a 4090. You know what I mean? Like those are those very high cost applications. Um, it'll help to have a separate PC for streaming on those. And for what it's worth, guys, if we, like I said, I've got a good chunk of change saved up right now, and if we go over, um, again, I'll build the best computer that I can around this thing, and again, keep the second computer as a streaming
Well,
computer.
let's just put it this way. It's only going to help your content be even that much better for everybody that enjoys it. So if people enjoy watching Wes stream stuff, you're going to open up a door that it's difficult to get through, right? Especially with a family of 5, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. Um, no, no, I look forward. I've never been able to just have no constraints, right? Like there's always been some blocker that has held me out from being able to just fucking play and cover whatever we want here. Although I've always had a pretty strong setup here, and we can cover most of the games that we're interested in. We're able to cover. Um, it would just be nice. It'll be nice to be like one of these bigger streamers that always have the nicest things, right? And are able to cover these mods the day that they come out and stream them like it ain't nothing. Like it'll be nice to be
It,
able to do that.
yeah, and you deserve it, and it's going to be awesome to see. Old Darth says, "How powerful a power supply does a 5090 need?" Well, I mean, I'm using 1,000 watt for my 4090,
Yeah,
and this is another 125 watts on top of that. So I would say probably a 1250 would be safe,
yeah,
just to give
yeah.
yourself the headroom. Because I'm not
That's what
at the
that was the
limit, but
plan.
yeah.
that was the plan. Is that I would at least get a 1300-watt power supply, and my plan is to order that first, so that I can get it in here and swap and see if that's what's wrong with my computer right now. Like if I can put another power supply in there and it just fixes all the problems, then we know that that's what the problem was.
Well, here's the fun part about that, Wes, is all your connectors are the power supply. So you can pretty much get to rebuild your computer just to swap that out. And what a drag.
Oh, it's not going to be that bad. I mean, obviously it's a bit of a pain in the ass to reroute the cables and stuff, but
What are you about your
like,
case? You might want to do the case at the same time. I don't know if you're upgrading your probably not upgrading your motherboard, but if you're
it depends. It
you need a
depends on
big
how much
case.
money. Yeah, it depends on how much money that we're able to raise. Like if people really come through here and we raise a good chunk of change, like I said, I'll build a whole new computer and keep this other one
What kind of
as
case
a
do you have
separate.
now? Because I got that huge lean Lee case, and it like was tight in that. Those cards are huge.
I've got a big case.
Okay.
I've got a full. It's I forget what model it is, but it's a big Corsair um, tempered glass case. It's tempered glass on all sides, so both front, back, top, bottom. It's got a glass panel on every side, and it can fit a 360 degree or 360 millimeter cooler either on the front or on the top. Um, it's a big case, so I don't think space is going to be a problem. And these 5090s are actually supposed to be smaller
A
than the
little bit smaller.
4090s. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it makes me wonder. I know that they've got new like cooling. They say that it's like a new cooling system that blows through it in a certain way, and that's my only concern about the 5090 is like the 4090 is so perfect on cooling that another 125 watts of power. I don't miss having to worry about an overheating video card or card running hot, and
Right.
I'd love to see this new series continue down that road, right? So
Yeah, these new coolers are kind of cool the way that they design them.
right.
They're completely different than previous generations. The way that they have the heat pipes kind of coming off. They've got the chip centered on the card, but no fan directly on it. It's all being done through heat pipes. Um,
Yeah, it'll be interesting because they say that it's at least the people looking at it, all the people that know about video cards, in theory, it should work really, really well. Like, because it is a new design and you just never know until everybody starts testing it, right? So,
Headbite says, will the 5000 series actually be better for VR? I know it's got AI and upscalers and frame generation, but VR is all about that rasterized power, right? Yes. And this is kind of what we were just talking about. Most of that, most of the features of this generation, the new features, aren't really going to help for VR, except for, you know, some potential future cases of modders potentially finding ways to use those features uh, in new and creative ways, the way that Luke Ross used last gen's DLSS.
right,
Um, but so the answer is no. Like if you're on an existing 40 series card, probably not worth the cost for an upgrade unless you're upgrading to a 5090,
right.
which is the only class of card this generation that had a price increase instead of a price cut. And the reason why it got that price increase is because it's the only class that actually got a big boost, or at least a noticeable boost in rasterization
Yeah, it's like 30
power.
some
So
percent. And the
yeah,
the new VRAM being a new generation, and it's the bandwidth is higher. I think you'll see a difference. And it's all from what you're coming from, like that's why you
right.
have to look at. It's kind of like what I used to say when people would say, you have a Black Friday deal and they're like, oh, look at this computer. It's got 520 terabytes of memory and, or hard drive. And like they're looking at the wrong stats, the stats that don't matter. If you know what matters, you look at the CUDA cores and if that's going up and the power's still there, it's not like these cards are going to be dog shit because they've got AI. If you're coming from a 4080 Super to a 5080, it's like 5%. You know what I mean? Like there's not much of a difference. But if you're going from like 4090 from what I have to what Wes is going to have, it's like 35% more rasterization power. So it just depends on what you're coming from, really.
Yeah, and me coming from this 3080 Ti, if I'm able to move up to a 5090, that's
huge.
It's going to be a huge difference.
Well, think about this. Like when I went from the 3080 Ti to the 4090, it was literally double 100% upgrade. So you're getting that 100% plus another 35%. And
that's
then
crazy, dude.
That's you're going from a 12 to 32. You're getting 20 gigabytes of VRAM on top of that over what you have now. So that's a
Imagine
big deal.
if I'm able to do that and then pair it with one of those new AMD 3D chips.
I think you're going to, because our community is awesome and you deserve it. And I'm going to put it out there that's going to happen. So
even that might be something worth actually selling my old setup to be able to do. If I can't do it just through fundraising, it might be worth selling my PC that I'm on right now just so I can get that chip. I don't know how much they cost. I know they're expensive.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. I actually have no idea, but it's probably like $700-800 or whatever. And you need a new motherboard, and it takes you down a different path, but it's a path that you won't need to upgrade. Like literally, I don't need to upgrade for another generation or two. I might, depending on how crypto goes.
You will. You will.
Well, when I have the money for it, because I do want to give this to my son, so I think it'll be worth it. But if I were to just keep what I have, I'm happy with it, and it's going to perform super well with everything for at least a few more years. But yeah, I would rather have an extra 35% more power and everything that comes with it for sure.
SpryGuy says the 9800 X3D is $480. So that's not as bad as I thought.
Is that the newest one that just dropped, Spry?
Well, they announced ones that aren't out yet, but the 9800 X3D is the newest one that has been released.
I gotcha.
GameCat Behemoth says, count me in. Yeah, no doubt, right? Shout out to Grandpa Barbecuer GameCat for donating to the link. I very much appreciate it, and hopefully sometime soon we'll be playing whatever it is that you want us to play. So again, for those of you joining us, we're fundraising now because these graphics cards come out in 2 weeks, and I'm going to try to order one as soon as I possibly can. Top 5 donors, at least the top 5 donors. It could be more. Like if it turns out that this thing goes nuts and a lot of people are making big donations, everyone that makes a big donation, I'll stream whatever it is that you want to play. But at the very least, the top 5 donors that donate to the PC upgrade will get to pick what the first games are that I play on it, and I will stream those games either in a private stream or a public stream. That will be completely your call. Anyway, there's a link in the description below. Buy me a coffee link. I've also got my email listed in there for those of you who would rather donate on PayPal. So shout out to Grandpa Barbecuer for donating, and shout out to Tiffany too. By the way, she donated on the last episode when she heard us talking about it. That's
awesome.
She sent $100 through Venmo. So shout out to Tiffany.
I think it's PO Track F says 5090 is only 30% faster than 40. Not a big difference. Well, I disagree. Here's the thing: most upgrades, when people upgrade their video cards, aren't even 30%, or at least a lot of them. Plus, you've got the added extra 8 Is it 8, right? Or is it 12? You're getting 30. Yeah, I guess it's 8 gigabytes of VRAM.
Yep.
You're going from was it DDR6X to GDDR7, with more bandwidth. And oh, here comes the disco lights. So I think it is a big difference. Now, whether you need to do it or not, like maybe you've got a 4090 and you don't want to get a 5090, and that is 100% valid as well, because I don't
Right.
think it necessarily needs to happen, because a 4090 is still going to be a beast. It's not going to suddenly suck. It just won't be as good as the 5090, you know. And I don't know. We'll see if they even come out with the TI this time, but I don't think they will on the 5090 Ti's. But that'd be cool.
Yeah, 30% faster than a 4090 sounds great to me, right?
Yeah. Well, dude, that's such a huge difference from the 3080 Ti. So
Mad Vegan says stream Koi Koi privately for me. I don't know what that is, but I will do it.
it sounds like it might be one of those porn games, Chinese porn games.
Could be. I had assumed that I would have at least one person that wants me to play VR Paradise.
Yeah, dude.
Stream it, because I've never streamed anything like that. So, yeah. Anyways, that's enough about graphics cards. I'm sure we'll be talking about it plenty in the period between now and in a month from now. But we have VR games to talk about, sir, and it has been a good long while since we've been able to sit here with everyone and talk about what we've been playing. So let's do that. But before we do that, let's say hello to our friends in chat. Friends like Looper, the Underground Game Cat, who I have to give full credit for this fundraising idea. He's the one that kind of pushed me to do it. And again, I probably would have never done it had he not pushed me to do it, because I always feel weird about asking for money.
Yeah.
So
it's up to people. If they don't have the money, then don't donate. If you have extra money and you want to see Wes have a better system to give better content, then do it. There's nothing weird about it, but I get you. I'm not big on asking either. So
Mark Smith is here. Staff and Stuff is here. Bad Robo says Arken Age. We're going to get to Arken Age in a few. Brooklyn Menace is here. Duggars K. Mad Vegan. Techno Glitch. Hussein X. Snapu. What's up? Says greetings all. Glad to see you streaming. Glad to be back here, man. We said it earlier. I'm going to say it again. I'm very happy that that we're back and going to be doing regular shows again going forward.
We're back.
We're back, baby. Cubo 92 is here. Hussein X, what's up? Old Darth is here. Pietrick F is here. VR SpryGuy, what's up? SpryGuy. 12 the Backlog Game Cat. Says he's looking to sell his 4090 so he can upgrade to a 5090. Word. Headbite is here. What's up, Grandpa Barbecuer? Thanks again for the donate. Duggars K is here. Radio Run. What's up, Radio Run? Quadzilla in the house. Mark Smith. What's up? Arlen Kundert is here. Traveling Man 3775. What's up, Traveling Man? Mark Pringlesleaf. Good to see you again, friend. Gabriel 004. Shout out, by the way, to everyone who showed up for the 2024 show awards selection ceremony. We had a pretty good crew turn up this year, didn't we, Rich?
yeah, we did. And it took only a quick 6-7 hours.
Yeah, it only took about 7 hours for us to
get
through all of it, but it was fun. It was a good time.
It was good.
Classy Grandma was here, and thank you, Classy, for stopping by, and thanks for your donations. Who else? Michael Verheyen was here. Hello, welcome. Philosix was here. What up? Scrolling up. Ryan Brandon was here. What's up, Ryan Brandon? JUU. Hello, JUU. Judging for marketing, if you take off fake frames, performance 5090 is from 10 to 20% versus 4090. I'm well aware. I don't have a 4090 though, so I'm good with that. Who else? Technoglitch, what's up? DLSS doesn't help UEVR mod. It does not, but it helps the real VR mod. I need to get back into Cyberpunk roots. People say that it's crystal fucking clear now with DLSS on.
Yeah, I keep thinking that I need to get into Cyberpunk, and maybe we do it for the show, and that'll get me to do it. But my only problem with Cyberpunk is the actual gameplay. Every time I've tried to play it, I just don't care for the story and the way it's laid out. I start to play it, and I'm like, I don't know. There's just something about it that isn't that appealing to me. I know some people say it's like the best game they've ever played, and they've played through it several times. And I just prefer a game
I
that's
liked it.
like Red
I
Dead.
liked it. It was just so dirty. The image was so, there were so many artifacts and shimmering and ghosting and stuff. I just couldn't get immersed in it.
Yeah, when I first got my 4090, I got it to look amazing, and then I just didn't play it. But
Happen stuff is here. Anyone else? Cubo92, what's up? Xbox Game Studios, what up, what up? Who else? Mark Smith, probably already said hello, but hello again, Mark Smith. Q Creator, what's up, Mike? Good to see you, sir. Rye Pop was here. What's up, Rye Pop? Meow Meow the Gamer Cat. Hello. Michelle B. What's up? I just got my heater fixed the other week. I'm ready for the Florida cold front. Yeah, man. They were talking about sub-zero temperatures for Texas a couple of days ago. I guess it's coming. True Prophecy 22. What's up? Town D. I'm sure I already told D hi, but if I didn't, what's up, D? Salvador. What's up, Salvador? All right, cool. That is as high and far to the north that I can scroll.
you better go down south because we had a lot of slippies. You know who loves to go down south, Wes?
Yeah, she does.
Yeah, she does.
So who do we have slip in here? Space Dennison, what's up? He says it does help in some UEVR games. I guess that's true. It could potentially, depending on how you which technique you're using to render. Snafu, we already said hello to Snafu. What's up, Rondo? What's up, Flippy Nuggets? What's up, Varglesoft? Mepper, Thwackett. What's up?
Gotta Phil Yarnstein. What's up, Phil?
He says, hi, controllers died playing Arken Age. Dude, my controllers died so many times playing Arken Age over the last couple of weeks. Like, literally, that's how long I played it. Till my controllers died every time.
That's crazy.
Who else? Duggars K. I think that's it. I think that's all the slippies. If shit feels you up, what's up, feels you up? Phil Yarn, what up? Yeah, so if I missed you all, if I missed your name, hello, welcome. Sorry I didn't catch you, but we appreciate you being here. And yeah, with that said, let's get into some VR talk. And I know everybody wants to talk about Arken Age, but everyone's been talking about Arken Age all week long. And for that reason, I feel a little bit weird about just coming on here and just talking about Arken Age. So I decided after I finished Arken Age, which I did finish it yesterday morning, or maybe the day before, I decided we'd get into another relatively recent release and give it a look and talk about it a little bit, so we had something else. And that turned out to be what is for some people fairly highly anticipated Pirates VR Jolly Roger, which just dropped on Steam a couple of days ago. Let me see. I'm not sure if this is early access or if this is a full-on launch. Give me just a second. Pirates VR. Pirates VR Jolly Roger, $19.99 on Steam right now. This looks like a full-on release. This is not an early access release. This is coming to us from developer Split Light Studio and publisher VR Kiwi. So first of all, of course, shout out to Split Light and VR Kiwi for providing us with review access. This has been fairly well sought after and looked forward to, Roots, since it was announced for PlayStation VR 2 recently. So I guess a month or two ago, this game got revealed as coming to PSVR 2, and that enthusiastic bunch of VR gamers, of course, immediately recognized from the trailer that this is a fairly good looking game in terms of production value. And that paired along with the fact that we don't get too many pirate games in VR generated a fairly decent amount of hype for this game. So I guess first question for you, Roots, is were you aware of this game at all before I mentioned it to you yesterday? And if so, what are kind of your thoughts and your anticipation level for it?
I had heard about it. I didn't see too much gameplay or anything. My biggest thing, there's so many games that have ruined me for anticipations as far as game wise, because one of my favorite pirate games I've played gameplay wise on flat is Sea of Thieves, and so for a game to be on that level as far as gameplay and multiplayer and questing and PvP and just everything, it's just I know that this is not going to be that, and so that was my first thing. Is like I don't get myself too excited about it because it's unlikely to live up to what I would want out of a pirate game, but it does look like the production value is pretty good.
Yeah,
So
the production value is quite good, and you didn't play this, right? Like,
no, I was going to. As a matter of fact, I downloaded it, and then when I was thinking about it, I saw you were in it, and then I was like, well, I'll just go into Arken Age, and then I convinced T to go into Arken Age, and so I sat here for like an hour and a half, not doing anything. But then I took your advice, and I spent all of my time in Arken Age, which wasn't hard to do once I started to get into it. I didn't really want to go to something else, so
that's good. That was
I
a
did.
wise choice. Not to throw shade at this game, but because this has actually turned out to be a fairly solid game. So coming into it, I came into it pretty blind, other than just watching the trailer and um, knowing that it from the title that it was a pirate game, and knowing from Splitlight Studio. If I'm not mistaken, this is the studio that made Afterlife VR, or one of those horror games that we recently played. So I had a fair bit of knowledge of the studio and kind of what the game was going to look like, but I didn't really know what type of game it was going to be. I didn't know if this was going to turn out to be something like Sea of Thieves, which is kind of what people have been waiting for and wanting in VR for a long time now, is a full-on, pirate game like Sea of Thieves. That's not what this is. I would say that this is more like an Uncharted game, like an adventure game where you're kind of marooned on an island, and you're exploring the island, um, collecting treasure as you go, and once you get a certain way into the game, then you start dealing with enemies, and enemies are not animals. Enemies are not humans. Enemies are ghosts and spirits. So eventually, these reanimated skeletons, pirate skeletons, start attacking you with eye patches and their swords and eventually their single shot pistolas. Um, so it's kind of a mixed bag for me. Like obviously the graphics and sound are pretty good here. That strikes you right off the top when you get in this game. Although I will say this, um, after playing Arken Age for weeks, like so I had Arken Age. I got the key for it um, like mid late December. But at that time I was preparing for 2024 show awards selection. So I was playing Batman, I was playing Resident Evil, I was playing Asgard's Wrath, Madison. These were the games I was playing at that time. So I didn't get a chance to jump into Arken Age immediately. Um, as soon as we voted, I switched over to Arken Age, and that's all I played until like 2 days ago. It was the only game I played for weeks. Um, coming out of that, playing that on PlayStation VR 2, and then switching after weeks into my MetaQuest 3 to play PC VR, I couldn't believe just how dull the picture was in that headset. Like it was so like colorless and dim. I thought for a minute that my headset might be damaged. Like it was such a contrast to using that PSVR 2 OLED HDR OLED panel. Um, I played probably my first session in Jolly Roger. I played in that Quest 3, and then eventually I switched over to using my PlayStation VR 2 on PC, and it was just a night and day difference. And um, what was already a good looking game was very much a very beautiful game in that headset.
I
And
wish
it ran
they.
better,
I wish you
too,
could
by the
have the
way.
best of both worlds, and I guess you can with some, and have the lenses of the Quest 3, but still have the OLED colors. I guess that's what a Quest Pro kind of was, even though it wasn't actual 100% OLED, but it
Right.
you get the best of both worlds.
Looper says, and you're not even on a Pro, right? No, I did not buy a PlayStation 5 Pro. There's just not enough value proposition there for me to spend that money. I'm trying to get a graphics card, bro. Um, anyways, so this is a good looking and sounding game. The kind of structure that they're going for here is story driven adventure. Um, and it's a pretty good adventure game. It's an adventure exploration game with some light combat, light puzzling to it. Um, I'd say the one thing that really kind of struck me, the only real area that it struck me as a deficiency was the story because they kind of sell this as a story campaign. It even says story when you click on the button, but there's not a whole lot of story here. You start the game and immediately you've got this parrot talking to you, kind of telling you what the next thing to do is and the next area to go. It reminds you a lot of that parrot in Tarzan. It gets kind of annoying after a little while, although it is handy to have something every now and then. It's a big island, so you can get kind of lost in terms of what to do next, and having that parrot kind of saves you a couple times. Um, but in terms of like what the story is here, there really isn't any storytelling. There's no cutscenes. Your character does narrate a little bit, and the voice acting isn't bad, but really the only thing your character says is stuff like, "I'm going to be rich," and "Oh, look at this treasure," and "Oh, great, some more ammo for my gun," things like that. there's not really any storytelling to it other than the occasional mention of Davy Jones and the spirit of Davy Jones as your kind of big bad in this game. It's kind of Davy Jones is the one that's reanimating all of these pirates and sending them after you. Um, but besides that, there are no cutscenes. There is no like stopping and picking something up to read it to get what the story is. You just kind of wake up on an island and follow the parrot and begin to explore the island, um, which takes you deeper and deeper and deeper into like caves and into scenarios where you're searching out treasure. And that's kind of the whole point here is to collect as much treasure as you can, um, and become rich as
What do you do with
any
the treasure?
part.
You buy anything with it, or
You
just store it?
so far as I can tell thus far, I haven't finished the game. I am on a relatively big ass boss fight right now, and I don't know if this is going to turn out to be the end of the game or if this is just the first boss.
Hmm.
But the only thing that I've been able to see so far that you can spend the currency on is there was two spots that I've encountered so far where there was some sort of a mini game that you could play, but you could only unlock it if you had a certain amount of currency.
Hmm.
So in the first level, there was a climbing mini game that you had to have a certain amount of currency to unlock, which I didn't have enough to do it.
Hmm.
And then in I think it was level 3 or level 4, there was an axe throwing mini game. There's like you unlock this room and there's a giant target on the wall, and if you have a certain amount of currency, you can unlock the axe throwing mini game, which I almost had enough to do, but was literally one bag of gold short
Oh
from
shit!
having enough to do
Oh,
it.
that's crap,
Uh,
man.
yeah, yeah.
Did you feel like you didn't go back and like search for that extra
No,
bag?
I don't really care. Like I don't care about playing mini games. I mean, I'm having a decent time with the game, but it's just because I'm enjoying exploring these like spooky pirate caves and stuff, and as you can see from the video footage here, it puts you in some kind of unique situations. I'm enjoying that aspect of it, but it is fairly like the combat's fairly repetitive, and the puzzles are just kind of like they're like they're not particularly difficult either. Um, so really, the if you're gonna get any enjoyment out of a game like this, it's going to be um, from because you like exploring, essentially.
Well, you got to have a reason to explore. Typically, uh,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, the reason to explore here is just to progress. So the way it works is you'll fairly early in the level see the exit, the way to get out, but it'll be um, it'll either be blocked or there'll be some sort of barrier that's keeping you from getting over there. So you have to kind of search your way through the level and find some items that will lead to you being able to get through the door or get to the next passageway and progressing on to the next level. And with that said, like again, I've played this for about 3.5 4 hours at this point.
Mm. You're probably at the
Um,
last boss, and somebody was saying something about this. It's a shorter, about a 4 hour game. They said,
yeah, I'm fighting Davy Jones' ghost, so
yeah, it's probably the
that
end.
makes sense. Which is kind of unfortunate because what I was about to say is that it's actually getting pretty cool now. Like I'm fighting this giant skeleton who's sending hordes running at me. I literally just got an upgraded pistol that has 4 barrels on it. Like it seems like it's about to get a little bit more fun in terms of the action. But if this is like the last boss fight, then it's going to be a little bit
You always
anticlimactic.
got the mini games. You go back, throw some axes and stuff.
Right.
So,
But this is just a $20 game. It's got good production value, and now that I think about it, when I think back to that Afterlife VR that we played, It was very similar in terms of like scope. It was a like 2 to 4 hour experience as well. It had spirits coming after you and some fairly shallow combat to deal with them. Um, that was I don't know if you remember, that was the game where like you had telekinesis
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
you
but
were
that had
like
a really
throwing things.
good story to it, didn't it? Or am I
It
thinking of
did.
something else?
It did. You definitely had a really cool backstory, and that's kind of what that game had that this one doesn't. So like there were like video sequences in that game and things you could pick up and read, and people that you talk to even in that game. Like you would come across patients from the mental hospital and talk to them. So yeah, you're right. That's kind of the one thing that that the Afterlife had that this game doesn't really have, and that's the story. I think that that's kind of the the one thing. Like I've seen people criticize the combat in this game. The combat's just something you do in this game. I don't think that this game is about the combat. I don't think this is meant to be like a big action game or anything like that. So the combat's fine. I think the one thing that this game is lacking that's keeping it from being an above average game as opposed to just an average game is that story. Like I feel like if they had a really good story that they were telling you from the beginning here, it would, and honestly, it wouldn't take much. There's just nothing here. Like there's no story here that they're telling. I
Well,
think if
that's
there were, um, then this would be a lot easier to recommend.
well, that's usually what would pull me through a game like this. Is like the story, right? It's like okay, the because you said that the combat's not really what you're there for. Well, then essentially you're there to explore and get through the game
Right.
because there's
Right.
the combat, and there's not really much of a story. Then of course this is without playing it, but it's kind of a bummer because I did think that the afterlife story was like the best part of the game was like, oh, what's gonna happen here, you know?
Yeah. So yeah, it's a 1999 game here. I would call it overall an average game. Like I I I, I had some fun with it. I don't know that I don't know I would have gone as far with it as I did if I weren't covering it. Like I probably would have put it down a little bit sooner. Um, but it's close. Like I feel like it's such a good production that like I feel like they could add a story with updates in this game. Like it seems like they want to tell you a story here. They just it's almost like they just forgot to put the story bits in. You know, it's kind of weird. Um, but I don't know. It's hard for me to recommend this game unless this type of exploration is just something that you really love. Like the environments are cool. Like that's kind of the one thing that kept me going with it is it does put you in some cool situations and some cool environments. I mean, there's a whole underwater level where you're swimming through it, and again, there's a lot of like supernatural stuff going on here and like cosmic craziness. Um, so like all of that's cool. Like there's some cool moments that you experience on your way through it, but the fact that there is no story here and the combat is kind of basic uh, makes it hard to recommend, especially
Loopers,
after playing the games that we've been playing lately. Like,
right? And that's a big
yeah,
that's a big difference, and can affect a lot of things. Looper says the Subside's that pool game, right? As he says he enjoyed this more than
yeah,
Subside, and that doesn't shock
yeah.
me. This is going to be a very unpopular take, but it's a fucking pool. I like I never really understood why everyone's like, oh, it looks so real. Like at least for me, I'm at the point now where that's just not great. What looks real? I could go to a real pool. That looks real too.
Right, right.
So I just
I don't go
I need
into
yeah, I need more than
VR
just
to
coins
right.
to to get out of the bottom of a pool to make me happy. But that's just me.
This is such a realistic pool. Look at how
Yeah.
real that coin looks at the bottom of the pool. If this were real life, I wouldn't go down and pick that coin up. But since it's VR, I'm going to go pick the fuck out of that penny at the
That's
bottom.
something that would have I thought would have been cool when I started VR in 2018. You know, and it was like I'm really new to VR, and I'm like, wow, this looks so real. Well, there's, yeah, you know, I don't
Yeah,
know.
I'm not going to sit here and say that I can't appreciate just how beautifully photorealistic that tech demo is. And there's certainly a place in my library for it. Um, but you're absolutely right. Like, I would play this Jolly Roger pirate game 10 times out of 10 before playing Subside, because Subside is a tech demo that just wows you purely on production value. And this is a game. Picking up coins is not a game. Well, I mean, I guess it's technically a game. It is technically a game. And I'd rather play Subside than Kayak,
All right.
because at least there is that, you know, picking up coins and unlocking things that unlock new areas that you can swim. That is a gameplay mechanic. So there's that. But no, I'd rather sit here and um, shoot these crazy demon skeletons with my pistol um, every time.
In
Like 10
fantasy
times out of 10, I'm
environment,
choosing
right?
this.
Something cool that
Yeah,
you
yeah,
would never be into a cave like this in real life. I've gone to a pool a lot, so I don't
yeah,
know.
exactly. Can you skip this head like ahead like 5 minutes or something like
Yeah,
that, just so people can kind of see how crazy this gets? I'm about done talking about it, but yeah, right here. You pick up this stone from the middle of this altar. You had to kind of solve a puzzle to break down this force field that was protecting it. And at this point, this is when Davy Jones'
oh
legions
god.
start running at you out of this cave. See, this whole level was just like I could get over to the mouth of that cave from the minute I started the level, but it was sealed off. So like literally, this whole level was me searching out this cave, searching every little nook
Mm.
and cranny of it to grab pieces of a tablet, stone tablet. Um, and then after you piece the stone tablet back together, it presents another puzzle, and it's kind of like one of these Indiana Jones style puzzles where you have to step on the correct rune, or it collapses and you fall.
Mm.
Um, and after you do that, you get across to this part in the middle. And then you use some other things that you found to unlock that stone crystal that you saw me grab at the beginning there. And then when you do that, then all of these crazy pirate ghosts attack you, and it gets pretty intense for a few minutes.
Yeah,
This was easily the funnest part of the game that I played right here.
I can see where you're just from what you're describing it being similar to Uncharted 4 without all the really good
Without
story.
the story, right? Exactly, without the story. Like if this had a good like story to it and was twice as long as what I played, like this would probably be a $35-$40 game, but it's half as long as it should be, and it has no story. So like, it seems like an early access uh, game
Yeah,
in that
you were
respect.
even checking. Is it early access? Probably because of that, right? So,
It's exactly why. It's exactly why, because the story's not here, right?
but it's $20, like you said, so it's not really expensive. And if you want to immerse yourself in a pirate world and feel like you're a pirate going on an adventure, it could be for you. So,
Yeah, 100%. Like I don't think it's overpriced or anything. Like it's nothing like that. It's just with the quality of games that we've been playing lately that have just kind of had gameplay and story and production value. Like it's uh it's hard to say, well, don't go play Behemoth, don't go play Alien or Metro, Don't go play Batman. Go play Pirate VR Jolly Roger.
My biggest thing is if somebody's gonna have the words come out of their mouth that came out of yours that says that the gameplay is not it's not really the what you're here for. There has to be something else, you know. And usually, if it's not gameplay, it's story. And if you have story and gameplay, that's amazing. I personally, I play games for the gameplay. If the gameplay is amazing, that's going to get me. Stormland would be a perfect example. You know, it didn't have much story, but the gameplay was so amazing that it was worth playing. And
Well,
I could also
again,
say that if about a game where the gameplay is okay, but the story is amazing, then you've got this amazing story you just went through as well. But if you don't have either, it's kind of like, I don't know.
but it's not that it doesn't have good gameplay. It's that the combat. It's the combat's not particularly deep. Like the exploration gameplay is really cool here. Like these these areas that you're exploring are big and cavernous, and you can get lost in them, and like you have to find your way through. It isn't just following a path and you get there, but
Okay.
you have to for example, you'll come to a door that's chained closed, but you don't have any key, or you don't have a tool that can break the chain. So you have to kind of work your way through a series of caves until you're able to find what you need, and then you have to find your way back so that you can go through the door that you're supposed to go through.
I gotcha.
And yeah, it's one of those, and that's all very well done. It's just the combat is they give you a single shot pistol, and I think two enemy types. And they're both skeletons. Oh no, there's three. I guess by the time you get to this point, they double the enemy types. But like 80% of the game, there's two enemy types. There's a skeleton that runs at you, and then there's a skeleton that runs at you with a force field around it. Um, so it's kind of repetitive, and it is challenging at times. Like they when they send two or three of them at once at you, it can get hectic. Um, it's just not super deep, right? Like you're just shooting these things over and over and over again. Anyway, it's a solid game, an average pirate game, and we don't have very many pirate games. So like, um, I think you can tell from my footage here what it is exactly that you're getting, and if this looks appealing to you, it's not very expensive. I think it's priced fairly at $20, and again, it's fairly polished. It's definitely more polished than the Afterlife VR was. That game was a bit more janky than this one was. This is pretty decent in the polish department. Anyway, shout out again to Splitlight Studios and VR Kiwi for allowing us to play. I did have a good time with it.
Random question for you, Wes. If you were to make a horror game, what would the main enemy be? That's from Funky Sloth.
The main enemy.
The
See,
arch
that
enemy.
would be different, difficult for me to say,
He doesn't want to give us secrets.
because I have a couple of concepts for games in my mind, but I don't think either one of them necessarily have like this one main big bad in it. Like the things that I'm thinking of are more scenario based, um, like games, and like they would be classified as horror because horrific things take place, things that could happen in real life that would just be your worst nightmare. You know what I mean?
Right.
That sort of stuff. So I don't know that there would be like necessarily a big bad, but I mean, I guess if I were to do the type of game that had a scary enemy in it, that would probably be Satan or Lucifer or some sort of like demon.
Right. Or Joan
you know,
Rivers, maybe.
or Joan Rivers or Whoopi
That would be
Goldberg.
horrifying.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess that's how I would answer that. Um, my chat window is just frozen. I'm gonna try to get it back, but it might cause my computer to crash. So if I go away, just bear with me. I'll be right back.
Okay. Yeah, well, so far, let's see. Yeah, psychological horror. It would definitely. I guarantee you, when Wes does make a horror game, it's gonna scare the shit out of everybody because he's gonna make a game that would scare him. And oh, there he is, Jolly Roger. I think that's him. Is that him?
Yeah, Davy Jones.
Oh,
Davy
Davy
Jones.
Jones.
There
That's
he is.
right. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's
So
lagging
this
a
is
little bit.
literally as far as I made it. I quit playing. When I die here in just a moment, you'll see me die. And that was as far as I went. Took me about 4 hours to get to this point. Three and a
How
half,
come you're not
4
using
hours.
your quadruple gun?
Well, I wanted to get close enough to this thing to fire it off at him.
Mm.
For whatever reason, it won't let you put that gun in your holster. Like you have to pull up your inventory to grab it,
Mm.
um, which is kind of a pain in the ass. But um, ammo's kind of limited in this game, and to shoot the quadruple barreled pistol, it takes 4 shots. Like it takes
Right.
4 ammo every time you shoot it. So I wanted to just keep it in my inventory until I can get close to this thing and then fire it off at him. But I never really got close to it. Anytime I got close to it, it hit me and knocked me back.
I know why it won't fit.
Um,
Like, look how slim and slender that gun is. Imagine trying to fit a. That gun had the 4 barrels across wide, right? You wouldn't be able to fit that in that. But that's a little weird to have to pull your inventory all the way out.
you know who could easily fit 4 at once?
My
She
mom!
needs to slow down. That's too many.
No such thing. That's what she'll tell
Oh,
you.
that's what she. Yeah, it's true. More the merrier.
Driven by with the $4.99 donation says happy Sunday. Well, happy Sunday, sir. Thank you for stopping by. Thanks for the donation. I appreciate it.
He said he's back in VR, and Looper says you can holster it behind your right shoulder.
Oh, I didn't know. The game didn't tell me that.
Yeah, you
Good
know,
to know.
semantics. Why would you need to know that? That's lame.
Maybe I'll go back in and finish it. Like I don't know if this is Looper. Is this the boss fight? Is this the end of the game?
It's got to be.
I mean, I might as well just go in there and polish it off if I'm already at the end.
Yeah, Awesome
Anyway,
Tatum
we'll
says
get-
Rosie O'Donnell could also be a horror villain. Can you
That's
imagine
true.
both her and Joan Rivers at one time? That would be like
Well, I have that
very
fantasy all the
horrifying.
time. Anyway, let's move along and get on to the main event here, because I know we do have a hard out for our friend Roots here. I don't want to run over. And besides that, this is kind of this is what everyone wants to know anyway. What are we thinking about Arken Age? Arken Age launched this past Thursday from Vitruvius VR. I'd like to go ahead and thank the awesome guys at Vitruvius VR for giving us review access to this weeks ago, both on PlayStation and Steam VR. And you know, Roots, I never even tried this on Steam VR because honestly, you know, we talked at the top about the problems I've been having with my computer.
Mm,
I never tried playing it on my computer. I just assumed that with my with that fan kicking on, anytime that my graphics card boosts to its normal frequency, I just assumed that trying to play any kind of games or anything on it would automatically make it crash.
right.
And I didn't try it until today when I played this pirate game, and or last night or whenever it was. And not only was I able to play it, I was able to capture footage and edit these videos, and I did all this stuff without it crashing a single time. So, yeah. Anyway, I played Arken Age on my PlayStation 5. Roots played it on Steam, and Well, I guess I should start by saying this, and we'll segue into the review um, off of this. As I mentioned before, I had this game or these keys. They sent them to us before we selected the 2024 show award winners. Um, this game was up for an award this year, actually, and I know what you're thinking. Well, how could this game be up for an award if it's not out yet? Like it wasn't out at that time. This game was nominated for the um, most highly anticipated upcoming game award. So we had probably 10 nominees or so of stuff that's coming out in 2025. And this was one of those games. Spoiler alert, this actually won. This won that award. Um, so while we will be going down the nominee list and stuff when we go live with the 2024 show awards next week, um, I guess with the game already being out now, I guess we should just go ahead and let everyone know that this is the game that won. And it surprised me a little bit, Roots, because I knew about Arken Age, and I was definitely hyped for it, and I knew there were a few other content creators such as myself that knew what it was and was looking forward to it, but I didn't necessarily expect the community, everyone in the community, to know about it and be looking forward to it as much as I was. But when we got in there and when we took the vote, Roots, it was overwhelming, right? Like it wasn't even really close. This was the game everyone was looking forward to.
Yeah, absolutely. I know for me, it got my vote because Eric was so excited about it, and he kept talking about he built single-handedly built the excitement in me for how good this game was going to be and so and I can honestly say after playing it for 4 or 5 hours, I it lived up to that hope and excitement, which a lot of times we have that award not even be as good as you think it's going to be, and just because it's highly anticipated. We've had many games come out that people were like Dee was super excited for Metro, and she felt really let down by it. So it's just one of those things where just because you're excited about a game doesn't mean it's going to be good.
Right. Ezek says, I'm loving it. I'm about 3 hours in. Here's the thing about it, Roots, and I said this to you off air as well when I was kind of encouraging you to play it as much as you can before we go live. It's great 3 hours in.
Mm-hmm.
It's twice as good 6 hours in, and it's twice as good 12 hours in. Like, this game builds from the moment you start in it to the time the credits roll. This game continually gets better and better and better. It's a level of polish that we don't often see in VR games. And I'm not just talking about production here, which is great, but the interactions, the physics in the game are extremely polished. The gun mechanics are very polished. Like,
there's thought put behind it. You can tell when everything you come across and everything you do, you can tell that actual gamers sat down and tried to figure out the best way to make this game. And that's not always evident in VR. A lot of times games are thrown together in weird ways, and this is good, but this is kind of mediocre. And there was only one thing, Wes, and I'll start with the negative that I was disappointed with. And not even a disappointment. I just wish it was different. And that's the movement when you push in the joystick on the right joystick and it jumps backwards.
It jumps backwards, yeah.
I wish it was a multi-directional dash, but that's just preference. It's not even a gripe. It's just I would rather it be able to dash this way or that way.
Or you can go left and right with it. You just can't go forward with it. Like if you're walking forward and you push that thumbstick in, it'll make you jump backward. So there is no forward dash. It's just left dash, right dash, and backward dash. And that got me killed on more than one occasion where I'm trying to dash away from something and it makes me jump backwards into it.
But it makes
Yeah,
sense because like I found out, I'm sure you found out, D definitely found out. You start this game, you go and feeling like you suck. I'm like, what? Fuck, man. I got killed so many times in the first, right off the bat. And I'm like, what is going on? But it has a level of progression that makes you feel like you're actually getting stronger throughout the entire game. Every time you get an
right.
upgrade, and that's one of the best things about it is it's as you're running around and you're grabbing stuff and you're doing this, everything means something. That's what I was saying about them it's very well thought out. You don't want to forget anything. You want to explore everything because you want every bit of currency to be able to buy your upgrades and get your guns powerful, and then the guns turn out to be way different than you think they're going to be when you're like, what is this? Like, I don't even, they give you such a vague description of what this upgrade piece is. And then you put it on there and it's shooting this fucking beam at them and they're flying. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, I just, I felt like you said that level of polish, it to me, it's the gameplay is this is why I love flat gaming. Is like there's so much thought put into the gameplay, and I feel like that was brought into VR in this game. They didn't just say let's make a really beautiful environment and let's like give them stuff to go find. Like it just everything matters, and I'm only like 4 or 5 hours in, but I can totally tell you that everything you said before was true. Like it seems like every hour or two it gets better and better and better. And so far it's been amazing.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. Hard to believe that this comes from a team of 4 people. 4 people made this game, Roots.
That's crazy.
Um, it is crazy. It's unbelievable. Um, I've heard people, reviewers, say that you can play through this in 8 to 10 hours. Brian Paul said that he finished it in 11. Um, 23 hours is what it took me to play this game from start to finish. But I didn't just A to B this game. I actually 100%ed this game, going through it and making sure that before I move on to the next level, that I found every relic, that I've unlocked every weapon blueprint, completed all the combat challenges, every side quest or side mission. Um, I made sure that I had done all of it before I moved on. So while you'll hear people say it took me 8 to 10 hours, but when I finished, I was at 65% or something like that completion. Um, when I finished it, I was at 100% completion on it. So like I absolutely love it, and I don't think I could give this a better. Um, I don't think there's anything I could say to someone who's been following our channel that is more telling about how I feel about this game than that, because you guys know I don't finish games all that often, like not anymore. I just don't have time, and nothing really sticks with me and grabs me, like that makes me want to just keep playing it every day until I get through it. Um, I haven't had a game grab me like this route since Returnal. Like that was the last time that I just started playing something and I couldn't quit playing it until I was done with it.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, like I said, it's just such a complete game in every way. And somebody had said it's they must have had um tons of game testing, right? Yeah,
They
they
did.
they they've they spent time to make a good game, and I think that's the biggest thing in VR that we don't get in a lot of times is a lot of developers are rushed. They're behind the 8 ball. They're cutting corners. They're not really like I want to play a game. Like I'm a gamer. You know what I mean? Like I want to play a game that's on the level of flat gaming. As far as gameplay wise. Yes, you're not in the game, but like there's so much depth and reasons to be doing everything in those games, and I felt like that's what this was. beautiful environments as well, and they didn't, it's not a simulator. Like I was very thrilled when I jumped off of something really high and landed on the ground and just kept running. I was like, yeah, I'm badass alien dude with 3 fingers, you know?
Oh, and let me tell you, dude, when you do that on PlayStation, like you feel it through your whole face because of the headset rumble. And that was a question that I saw earlier in the chat. Is has anyone played it on both to compare? And while I haven't played it on Steam, I do know what some of the differences are. But I never felt really that I needed to play it on Steam because the PlayStation version of this game was so well done, and it actually you can tell it from the minute you go into the settings, because this is one of a very few PlayStation games that I've ever went into that has like PC settings, and like there's graphical settings and things that you typically wouldn't see on a console game that they actually let you have access to. Now, with that said, when you go into the Steam version, there's even more. Like the amount of options in here for you to tweak is ungodly. Um, but the first thing they ask you, Roots, when you start this thing up, is do you want it on quality mode or do you want it on performance mode? And both of them use the eye track dynamic foveated rendering. The difference being performance mode runs at 90 hertz natively, and the quality mode runs at a 120 hertz with reprojection. Most people I've heard said that they preferred to play it in performance mode, but this was not the case for me. I chose the quality mode with reprojection because the reprojection really wasn't that noticeable for me. The difference in sharpness between performance and quality mode was a way more noticeable difference for me. So while most people like that performance mode, I was all about the quality mode, playing at this thing at almost 4,000 by 4,000 resolution. Um, was a pretty big game changer for me.
Yeah, with the exception of the rumble and the haptic triggers, I got the best of both worlds in that respect because I think I super sampled it like 1.5 in game or whatever, plus turned everything all the way up and it ran perfectly and looked amazing. And yeah, it just it's super cool. Like how cool are those the gun mods and stuff? You get those cartridges, right? And you take them back
Yeah.
and you get to put your gun up there. And a lot of times I don't even know, at least at first, didn't know what am I upgrading, right? Like, what is this for? And I get there and I put each weapon up until I see that cartridge, and then I get the God axe, and like I just like even we're watching this climbing. How cool was the climbing in this, and how seamless it did? I mean, it just, you've climbed up so fast with those hooks that you pulled out or whatever you want to call them, and it just felt good and fast, and there was no jank to it. That's the biggest takeaway from this. No jank whatsoever, even to the point where I drop my gun, I just keep running. I can grab it again. It's not a simulator. You're not worried about losing your fucking magazines, so you can't use your gun or just some bullshit. Your gun, you drop your gun. Oh, oops. Okay, well, I can grab it again because it disappears, despawns, or you can put it back on your hip like you normally would, or over your shoulder or whatever. It's what I'm referring to now is making the game flow. Like it's a video game. Like it's not a simulator, and at some point it needs to flow. And I can't think of any jank whatsoever. Even the reloading, once you got it used to it with the batteries and stuff, and the way the physics, right? You can like push it up against your leg or pop down, however you want to close it, you close it like you would in real life. It impressed me how good
The
it was.
physics was probably one of the most, if not the most impressive thing about the game, um, because it's so well simulated, and kind of like true to life physics here. So this is a game that it lets you choose how you want to fight. Like you can fight melee if you want to be a melee guy. You can take your sword and your shield and sword fight with these guys, or you can or you can make this game and play it like it's a shooter. And there's a ton of different weapons, which we'll talk about in a moment. But the cool thing about it is it switches seamlessly back and forth between melee and shooter, and it's to the point where like if an enemy's coming at you with a sword and you have your gun equipped, you can parry their attack with your gun, just because the physics allows for it. Like the physics is so perfectly well done that that you can block melee shots with it. And not only that, but like if you're taking fire, not only can you block the fire with your shield or your sword, you can block that fire with your gun too. Like you can take your pistol or your rifle or whatever and literally deflect these incoming shots with it. And because the physics is so well done like that, literally anything that you have in your hands can be used as a defensive implement or an offensive implement where you're smacking things with it. And what you said is true about the, reloading the batteries into the weapons. They kind of dangle there sometimes, and you can take your hand and push them up in there, or you can just use gravity and turn it so that it falls in, or you can just swing it and have it pop in on its own. Like the physics, it's almost true to life, right? Which is crazy because that's like the only thing true to life. Everything else in this is like crazy sci-fi magic, right? But the physics feel very real.
How good was the AI combat? Like the people attacking you. Like I don't know if I didn't play on tenderfoot on novice, but I played on normal, and on normal it was pretty fucking hard right off the bat. I thought, oh my god, these guys are ruthless.
I started on heroic. Like I started on like the hard difficulty.
That's crazy.
And by the time I got to level 4, like the 4th level, I took it back to normal. Like it was like I was progressing, but it wasn't adding to the experience for me. Like it was making it more frustrating than it needed to be. And you know me, like I normally I start out on hard and I just keep going on that. I very rarely go back to normal after starting playing on hard, but that's what I did here. Like I got to that 3rd and 4th level and I was like, this doesn't need to be this hard for it to be challenging. So I took it back, and I'm glad I did, because like within a couple more levels from that point, the game actually got really hard. And by the time you get to the end of this, I don't like, obviously now that I've completed it and I've unlocked New Game Plus, eventually I'll start a second run and I'll go through it on heroic. I don't know how in the world I'm going to fucking beat this game on heroic level. It was so difficult to beat the first time through on regular. With that said, though, I am aware of a couple of things that they've nerfed on it, that they've already nerfed versus the version that I played. There's a couple of things about the mini boss fight, and then the main boss at the end that they made easier than what it was for us reviewers, which I don't exactly agree with, but I get why they did it.
Yeah, well, it happens. VR and Arken Age, you got to change it up for all the normies. But yeah, no, I just thought the weapons were very unique. Each one of them was cool and different.
Yeah.
When my sword broke the first time, and I didn't even really realize that there was a battery on that. I could have just slapped a new battery on, but
it took me forever to figure that out. Like I thought my sword was broken for an hour until I figured out that, oh yeah,
I figured it out after D told me about it, and then I had already upgraded to the God Axe, and because I thought my sword was done, I was like, my sword's broken, I gotta upgrade it. But how cool was that? Like you just take off the sword part of it and put on the god axe on the hilt, and now you got this amazing axe. And kind of in the beginning, you kind of need to use melee because the guns were pretty weak. But once you start to get those upgrades, man, the guns become so powerful and so cool in different ways. And it made me look forward to upgrading stuff, you know?
Yeah,
So
it's so cool how this works. So you get three classes of weapon in this game. You have the melee weapon, you have the light gun, and then you have a heavy gun. Um, and on their very most basic level, like the melee weapon is a regular sword. The light gun is like I can't remember if it's a pistol or like a submachine
it's a
gun.
pistol.
And then the heavy gun on its most basic level is a shotgun. But the way that the weapons upgrades work is um, you find blueprints as you play your way through the game, and you pick up alloy, which is everywhere. Literally, you can recycle the enemy's body parts into alloy if you need it. And then you craft these parts that you find blueprints for. And both of your guns um, will take three different types of parts. You can either put a stock on it, you can put a scope on it, or you can put a barrel on it. Putting a barrel on the gun literally changes what kind of a gun it is. So you have your shotgun, you put a barrel on it, and now maybe you've got like a sniper rifle, or maybe you have like a machine gun, or you have um, a harpoon like ballista. There's dozens of different types of parts that you can get. So the way these work, they come in sets of three. So for example, the if you want the sniper rifle, you can get the barrel, the scope, and the butt. And whenever you complete a set, you don't find them together. You find them one at a time. But when you find all three from one set, you get a bonus. So each piece has statistics. So this barrel maybe will give you plus 10 damage, but it also might give you minus 10 recoil. Every piece that you get has its own statistics. And then as you build out these sets, if you get all three of one and complete a weapon, uh, then you get bonus stats on top of it, like extra damage, extra recoil, what have you. Um, but the cool thing is you don't have to have all three to use it. Like, really, you just need the barrel to change what type of weapon it is. And on top of that, Roots, you can mix and match. So like I said, each individual piece has its own statistics, but you can take like the barrel from a sniper rifle and the scope from a ballista and the stock from another weapon and put them all together to make a very unique weapon that has unique traits and capabilities. And with that, everything that you find, like the combinations are endless that you can put together.
Right. And the beauty is you can switch back and forth whenever you want. You just go back to that machine and you can cycle through the different parts. So there's no penalty to try different stuff, you know? Like so far my favorite is the on the long gun or the main gun is the that beam that just shoots out and knocks them on their
Oh
ass.
yeah, yeah. That's
The
like
energy
the
beam.
the ghost, like the Ghostbusters, like
Yeah,
pack,
it's
right?
just so powerful and I just really like it. And I went from only using melee to mainly using that gun. But even on my pistol, I just got a laser sight, and it just there's just so many. Like I said, there's so many reasons to pick everything up, and that's one of the reasons why I was talking about with Jolly Roger. Is there anything you buy with your gold? Because I thought this game did such a good job of giving you reasons to want to explore, to grab everything, to kill everything, to go back through. And I'm not irritated if I got to re-kill enemies when I go to a new level because it's more alloy, right? And how cool is it the refabricator or whatever, where you go turn in all that extra parts and shit, and they drop in the um,
Yeah.
and it gives you, it gives you money. It's just a very satisfying feeling. I thought at first when I first got to that area where you could have those waves of people for alloy and keys and stuff come, I was like, I avoided it. And then after I did the first one, I was like, dude, I want to do the next one. And I went through all four of
Yeah.
them in that first part. And it was just really cool. And so there's really not anything negative I would say about this game. It shocks me when Dee told me it was a 4-person team. And she was saying something that kind of resonated with me. She said, maybe some of these bigger studios need to come at it from a smaller studio mentality where they're trying to make a name for themselves. A lot of these big studios get to a point where they kind of just slap shit out, and it's a big title or whatever, but it's not even close to the level of this. And this is 4 people. I don't know how
Yeah.
long it took them or whatever. And obviously everybody has different talent levels. But I want more of this in VR. I want a game that, like you said, grabs me and makes me want to go. Dee can tell you, after I played it the first time, I bugged her for 2 days. Did you try Arken Age yet? Dee, you need to get in there and check it out. Dee, you need to get in there. And she said, I need to get in there because she's like, I haven't heard you say this about a VR game in a long time. Because it impressed me that much, and I was only a couple hours in at that point. So, my level of that feeling has only increased since. It's like every time I go in, I'm impressed more with how good this game is. What does it cost
Yeah.
on this, by the way?
$39.99. It's a
Oh yeah,
$40 game.
definitely worth $40 all day long. And it's
100%.
for most people, a 10 to 15 hour game. So
Yeah, and I've got 23 hours in, and I could start right now and with no problem play through another run of it. I mean, I only quit and moved on just so I could cover something else, right on this episode. But if I had chosen to just start right back up with New Game Plus, I would have had just as much fun. It's a fun game. Like the combat's fun, the exploration's fun, the story's great. Um, Everything's so polished and well done. Um, I mean, I could nitpick some stuff. I guess I probably should nitpick some areas for improvement here, but just know that it isn't anything that really stuck out to me in the course of playing that I felt like needed to be improved. Like I had so much fun. The swimming is great. They let you swim with your hands, or you can use thumbsticks. Um, some of the places where they hid some of the relics um, were kind of mind blowing. Uh, I wouldn't have even thought to try some of this stuff, but I just happened to do it on a whim, and it turns out that there's stuff hidden in there. Um, so let me try to be critical of something, and really the only thing that I could say definitively could have added to the experience. Go on, dog. My dog keeps running in and out. It's driving me nuts.
it's his show, right?
Um, yeah, it is for today for sure. Um, the way that the map is put together, um, I feel like they probably could have built this out a little bit better so that you don't have to have that distinct loading screen in between every little area. And when I say little, the areas are pretty big, right? Like each level, it doesn't look big at first. You can literally run. So there's a door, and this is kind of what I'm talking about. Every area, every level has an entrance door and a door to leave, right? And there's a corridor on either side of any door. So we all know what those corridors are. Those are loading areas. And then even though you're in that corridor, it isn't loading while you're walking through the corridor, because when you get to the other door to go to the next level, it literally blacks out and loads the level on a black screen. It doesn't take a long time, um, but what it ends up doing, it has this kind of mental effect on you where whenever you get into a level, you kind of feel like you're in an arena. Like there's very clear boundaries all the way around. Um, and it doesn't feel that big at first. Now you eventually learn that the levels are big, and the reason why they're big is because there's caves going into the wall and then down into the ground, and then like uh, every wall that you see around is actually a tower where you can go up many floors, and there's lots of climbing and verticality to it. But the levels feel smaller than they are because of the way the map's kind of put together, and it's just kind of like a series of arenas that are tied together by corridors and doors. And I feel like um, the game would feel much bigger if instead of these doors, like maybe you're walking through areas of forest or mountains or something like that, and it's loading kind of in the background rather than going to a black screen all the time. Um, Again, just a nitpick observation of mine, an area for improvement, but not anything that I really given much thought or really ruined my experience all that much.
I don't remember. I mean, I remember it going, obviously you'd make a noise and it would go to the next thing, but it didn't. Like Looper was saying, it was 2 or 3 seconds on the PlayStation. I guess somebody
It
said
wasn't
that.
long. Yeah,
Yeah,
it
I
wasn't
didn't.
long.
I just don't even remember it even being that long. It just seemed like it was almost instant, even though you could tell that it was loading to something else, but it was so fast. So I
Yeah.
don't wonder if it was faster on the PC than say on the PlayStation.
No, it was super fast. That it really wasn't the it wasn't the loading time. That wasn't really the point. It's more the structure of the levels and the way that you can always kind of see the exit door from the entrance door, and it makes it feel a lot smaller than it actually is. When um, I think it would be cooler if like some of these areas were strung together and like 3 or 4 levels kind of made up one big area before you saw the next door or gateway, so to speak. Again, it's all just kind of personal preference sort of thing, and uh, kind of a way to make the world feel bigger than it feels uh, the way it is right now. Again,
How
I'm nitpicking,
how
just
cool
just nitpicking.
how cool was it to even just the making the syringes, right? The way you take that little torch, you find those whatever those things are. I don't know what they are. Some kind of fruit, probably from an alien world.
Oh yeah,
And
that's cool.
it just
Yeah,
the
those
way it
fruit.
looked and just I just thought that like I think the crafting in this is perfect. It was like not too elaborate, but it was definitely unique, and it was cool. And then everything you can buy it. That's another reason why there's reasons to go through and redo some of these biomes is you can go through and get your alloy again, build up your alloy. There's I don't know if you went evil or good or whatever. I in that one
That was good.
Yeah, in that one area I accidentally killed one of the I jumped across a
No.
bridge and I was like, oh shit, I can kill these guys. And then I went back to where it tells you those two choices, right? And I saw that I had gained 10% evil. And I was like, oh shit. Like I felt so bad. Like I wanted to apologize, but he was dead. But I thought that was pretty cool too.
I was 100% good. Good guy on that. Um, so Radio Run asked PC or PSVR 2, which version? So let me say this. I haven't played the Steam version, um, but I definitely believe PSVR 2 is probably the way to go here. Because not only is the game like absolutely beautiful, no matter which way that you play on it. Here's why I would get it on the PlayStation VR 2, and you already know what I'm going to say. The haptics and triggers in the controllers are every weapon it is customized for, right? So all the weapons feel different from one another. Um, like I mentioned before, that you've got the headset rumble when a big enemy hits you, or when you drop down from a high ledge onto the ground, you'll feel it in your head. And another one of the really cool things is the way that the sniper scopes work. So like it doesn't just work if you put it up to your face where you look down the thing and you get the magnification. But what happens is when you close one eye, the eye tracking picks that up, and then it puts it into sniper scope mode for you. So like literally, when you close your eye, then the scope activates for you.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. I don't think you're gonna do. I don't think you're going to go wrong either way, Radio Runt. I think you probably can get a little bit sharper image, most likely, on your PC, but you're trading away all of these tactile sensations and things that you get from the PlayStation version. So, anyways, any thoughts on that? Roots PSVR
I don't know.
versus
I'm the
sneaker?
opposite. I just, if I have a choice between PC or PlayStation VR 2, I just, the haptics and the triggers aren't enough to make me want to play on the PlayStation anymore. Like I if I'm being honest, I just try to avoid it at all cost, unless it's like an exclusive. We have to play it. It's the only way we can play this game to cover it. That's the only time I ever use my PlayStation VR. So much so that I sold my PS5 a year ago. Like there's just no reason for me to hold on to it anymore. I just I would equate it with me deciding I've got two PCs, one with a 4090 and one with a 1080. Which one do I want to run it on? I'm going to go with the 4090 every time. You know what I mean? So it's just the extra power is more worth it. But I'm also, especially in a game like this where the gameplay is so good, like I feel like the games. That's the only reason why we have these conversations. If a game is mediocre, you need all that extra shit to get you pulled into it. I need more haptics. I need more those triggers to make me feel, but I don't need that in this game. This game is so good gameplay wise that I'm already immersed in it. It's the same reason I didn't hook up B Haptics Vest. Every time I start this on the PC, it tells me, "Do you want to start it with the haptics?" I said, "No, I don't want to put my haptics vest on." But you can, you know. And it just that's just the way I feel anymore. I know that's probably very upsetting to PSVR 2 only users, but I just that's how I feel.
So you can't go wrong. That's basically the answer. And Radio Runt, you're saying that to get it on the console means that you have to um, pair your controllers and stuff back to your console. That's true. But I mean, if that's the case, then you should just do what Roots is going to do, right? Sell
Just
your console, like you know.
Loop,
Um,
Looper says,
How dare you?
"How dare you?" Yeah, no, I
but
get
no,
it.
it's
I get why
it,
people love the PlayStation VR 2. I don't that much. Now, if what you're talking about with the sometimes, and I didn't play it this way, but hooking it up to my PC, getting the OLED and the best of those worlds, uh, I'd be inclined to do that. But I kind of wish you could use the haptics and I guess you get the haptics that way, but not the triggers. So
right, right. Well, I mean, there are workarounds, and obviously, as time goes on, people are going to get more and more of that stuff working. But like I said, like holy shit, dude, what a difference! When I was playing that Roger pirate game in the Quest 3, like it was so dull and lifeless. Like I literally thought like somebody's messed up with my settings, or my something's wrong with my headset here. Um, there's no way that it's just this. It's almost like going from a color TV to a black and white one. It was that different. And then I went over and plugged my PSVR 2 into my PC, and it was just beautiful. So um, I think it's just where I've gotten used to it and playing Arken Age on it for weeks, literally weeks. And that's a bright, vibrant game, colorful game. Um, it's just a big difference in comparison.
Oh yeah, I bet this game as well is probably because it's all that bright green and it's just
Yeah.
very colorful game in general. So
So what haven't we talked about here? We've talked about the weapons in combat. We've talked about how great the physics is. We didn't really go on too much about the graphics and sound, but I mean, what do we need to say here? People can see. People can see what this thing looks like, man. It's beautiful.
I thought the music was really cool. The background
I did
music,
too.
it was just
Mhm.
very zen and cool sounding, and the audio cues were good. You could hear the robots when they were suddenly alerted to your presence, and it just yeah, I thought the production value in this game was top notch. Again, if you told me,
So
if I didn't know that this was for a 4-man team, I'd say there's no way.
yeah, it's a great action adventure gameplay loop. There are dashes of puzzles in here as well, although they're very they're pretty simple what's here, but still adds a level of coolness to it. The storytelling's awesome. The story's told through many different ways. You can find like these memory logs as you play through the game, which gives you a lot on the backstory of the world. And then there's narration through your connection to the custodian, which is the kind of the big being that kind of sets you out on your mission. Um, you meet a couple of characters throughout the course of the campaign that you interact with that give you a little bit more of the story as well. The story is a great story in and of itself. Um, yeah, man. I mean, it's literally good in every way. Like they didn't drop the ball anywhere here, and you really you don't get to say that very often, especially when you're talking about an indie game from a team of four developers. That's pretty crazy.
That's very crazy. Yeah, it was a big shock for me. Although I was looking forward to it, I just wasn't expecting it to be this good.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. It's really really good. And how crazy is it, man, that we're literally back on our first episode of the year, and here we're talking about a January release that 100% is going to be a front runner in the conversation for Game of the Year on the 2025 show.
Yeah,
And I'd like to say that doesn't happen very often, but to be honest, it seems like when we get a notable release in January, it ends up being a great game. Like we had one year, we had the Saints and Sinners. One of the Saints and Sinners games came out in January, and then 3 years ago we had Wanderer, which came out in January and ended up being Game of the Year. Um, so yeah, we've had it happen before, but kind of crazy. A good omen for 2025 that we're kicking it off with such a banger.
I just hope we get more and more games like this that are just complete. Um, it's like we kind of started off, or I started off about Subside and stuff. Like it's not enough to put you in an experience and in a cool environment, like and call it a game. It needs to be an actual game that the gameplay. I'm big on game flow. I want the game to flow. I want it to just feel good in every way, and like everything about this.
So check this out, Roots. This specific challenge, you get an extra prize if you do all the damage with the sniper rifle. So I grabbed a ride from this thing. As soon as I started the challenge, I grabbed a ride from this flying thing and took it up to the tallest tower on the map and just sit up here and sniped from the top as these waves of enemies came down on ground
Is
level.
that's what you use that bell for, right? Is to get those
Yeah.
guys to come. Yeah, I've got the bell on top of the other where you find it at first,
Well,
and I can't. I don't know. I got to figure out how to like.
so what the bell does is it summons this flying creature and it takes you to some secret area where there's some secret item. you'll come across a few of these in over the course of the game, and some of them just have the bell there already, and then some of them have the bell missing, and you have to find the post where it goes and then put the bell back on.
I tried to shoot
Um,
those things down to get because it looked like he had a part to a weapon or something, but I never thought about grabbing onto him. So
no, it's just that it's a handlebar. You just have to jump up and grab it.
yeah, so that's the thing. What another thing I love about this game is like it doesn't hold your hand. Like even to the point where you get parts for the guns and stuff, you don't know what the hell they do. You just kind of have to explore it, figure it out. There's just it's kind of what you would have wanted from Behemoth when it tells you cover your ears, do this, do that, do this, and people were kind of complaining about that. You didn't see that in this game. It's a game. You figure it out. Like I don't need you to tell me everything about what's happening. That kind of takes away from the fun of figuring that part of it out yourself, right? So
Right, right. And that was my complaint with them kind of nerfing what they did about the boss fights. Like there, there's certain ways that you have to go about putting damage on the boss, and you have to figure that out, what that is. And as it turns out, like the first thing that most people try isn't what works, but now it will be because they
mm,
changed it so that the thing that everyone tries to do is the thing that actually works.
I
So
think you should be able to
it's
do
excellent.
both. I found that as
That's
well.
what I
There's
told them.
multiple
I,
things you
I
can do.
I told them that they should keep the original boss mechanics on the heroic difficulty. So it gives people, like, if you go through it on normal difficulty and then you decide you want to go through it again on heroic, you won't be able to kill the bosses the same way this time that you did last time. It gives you something different and something more challenging about it.
Yeah, yeah, and especially and that's what you want out of a new game plus, right? Is you want something different that's harder and
Right.
than something you didn't do before. So
You know who else wants something different that's harder?
My
that
mom!
she didn't do before. Yeah,
Anyway, I guess that's going to wrap up our episode here. Definitely go buy this game. It's a masterpiece. It's a front runner for Game of the Year. It's a steal at $40, and it doesn't matter if you're playing it on Steam or on PlayStation. It's great no matter where you play it. Um, just an excellent, excellent game that lived up to every bit of my hype and then some. So yeah,
yeah,
I can't say enough good things about it.
I agree. Radio Runt says he thinks he's retired his Rift S. Word, Wes. You know what's funny is I've actually been using my Rift S from time to time, and whatever they had that when it wasn't working, it now works perfect, and I'm actually kind of enjoying it. It still looks amazing. So I don't know. Was very shocked when I started using it at different times for different games, and
I need to try mine out again. I quit using mine for mods because it kept blue screening on me and crashing like over and over and over again. I just assumed that where they quit
supporting it.
supporting it and
Me too.
updating it that it was no good.
Yeah, no, it
But
works. It works very well, and yeah, I'm enjoying it.
maybe we'll give it another shot before we put it away forever. Um, I've got all these headsets sitting around here. I need to figure out what I'm going to do with them. I'm going to box them up and put them away. I'm going to sell them and put that money toward my PC build or what. Because I've got these G2 sitting around here. I've got these old Oculus sitting around here. I've got 4 Quest 2 sitting around here. Um,
That's crazy.
yep, it is crazy. Um, but yeah, I want to thank everyone for hanging out. Again, so glad that we're back here doing regular episodes again. You probably won't see us again until next week when we do the 2024 show. Be sure to tune in for that one. It's going to be awesome. We're going to give away a ton of awards. We're going to give away a ton of games. Um, but we probably won't do a show this week because we have to
Get ready.
We got to shoot some pre-recorded segments, Roots.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. You know, and
So
that's about half of, that's pretty much half the show. I was saying that that last 7 hour episode, you know, that literally without the pre-recorded, it's about 7 hours of showtime. So we did like a mini end of the show last time.
So yeah, we'll have to shoot those this week. It's probably not going to leave very much time for to do another episode, but we'll come back next week with the 2024 show. Eric will be back from his trip. I'm going to go ahead and say it's going to be on Sunday. He alluded to maybe being able to do it on Saturday when he gets back, but something tells me, Roots, that he's not going to want to get off a plane, rush home, and do a 12-hour live stream. So
I don't blame him. Hey, just chill, you know, spend some time with your wife and yeah, enjoy your family.
But we'll be back on Sunday, and then after that, we'll go back to our regularly scheduled cadence with regular episodes. Although I'd say the first episode after the 2024 show will likely be a Game of the Month episode for 2 months for December and January 2024/25. We are going to be bringing in some help to help us do those episodes, and we still have to kind of figure out how that's going to work and what that's going to mean. But I know I don't want to play every game that comes out on Quest, and I know Roots doesn't either. So we're going to bring in Looper and have Looper help us out with that, and then of course we have a couple of other people that already help us do other things on the channel that we're going to offer to let them come into if they want and talk about some of these games. So the good news is that Game of the Month will still be a thing. And the even better news, Roots, is I think we'll probably have even better coverage now because people will actually be spending the time in those games.
Playing the games. I did want to say, because Scott just pointed out, Scott, the PSVR Game Cat for Life, had a £4.99, I think that is. He said, "So guys, I'm coming to PAX East from Brighton, southeast coast of England, to the Game Cat Meetup 2025. Can't wait to meet you guys and all the cats." Well, I'll put it out
Scott.
there.
Sorry that I missed it when you put it up there. I'm looking forward to seeing you in Boston. We had a blast last year, and it's going to be even better this year because it's not going to be cold as fuck like it was last year. It was freezing.
Was it cold?
It was cold, dude. It was really cold, and it's 2 months later in the year. This year, it's in May, so it should feel a lot better.
Yeah, the only problem is it's Boston still. I'm not a big. I don't know. Most of these big cities suck ass. I don't know. I've never been there. Maybe it's amazing, but
dude, when you come rolling in with a crew of 50 awesome people,
that's true.
It makes it a lot better.
That is true.
Again, ladies and gentlemen, we are 2 weeks away from PC series launching. Please help me to buy and build a new computer. I wouldn't ask you for it if it wasn't important. If it wasn't important and meant everything to me, I wouldn't ask you for it. But there are donation links in the description. Top 5 donors get to pick the first 5 games I play on the thing and stream. So yeah, please donate what you can to that. Buy me a coffee. I was looking to see if I could change it to buy me something else. Buy me a computer, or buy me a graphics card.
They won't let you change it.
No, they won't let you change it.
Yeah, they kind of want to keep that saying. But and always remember, too, people, if you can't afford it, then don't worry about it. It's not that big a deal. But if you can, let's get Wes to an amazing PC that makes mine look like dog shit. You deserve it, Wes, and I can't wait for you to be able to jump in these games and just crank everything up.
I don't think that I could build a computer that makes yours look like dog shit, but I can probably build one that's a little bit better.
Yeah, it's going to be better. We're going to make sure of it.
Thank you, Tatum, for the donation. Thank you again, Grandpa Barbecuer. Thanks to anyone else who's already donated. We'll be back. We'll see you soon. And until then, thanks for showing up, ladies and gents. We'll see you next time.
Yep, take it easy.